So the next thing you're going to want to do is...
Probably get an agent.
Before we get an agent, I would say get a demo. Yeah, get a demo, because your demo is your calling card, okay? Actors for film have a headshot and resume. Voice actors have a audio demo. Now, again, when I started doing this, we used to hand out cassettes. For those of you who don't know what a cassette is, Google it. But then we moved to CDs, but now we're in the age of just having a website and that kind of thing. So you want to have your demo, which will be an audio sample of the work you can do. Now, generally speaking, you want to have a demo for each genre. So you'd have a commercial demo, you'd have an industrial demo, an audiobook demo, an animation demo, and any other type of genre you want to get into. But those are sort of the basics that, and if you have those, that would pretty much cover just about everything. But they're samples of your voice. So let's say you have like your commercial demo has a real happy spot where you're real excited and really thrilled to be there and talking about whatever you're talking about. And then it cuts to another spot where you're a little more somber, a little more, it's been a tough year, that kind of little heartfelt. And then it may cut to something that's maybe a little character and does something like this, But it's just a sample of your voice. Whole thing needs to be what? 90?
Probably a minute to 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Usually if a casting director doesn't hear what they're interested in the first couple pieces, they're tuning out. They're moving on.
Right.
And but if you grab them in those first couple of samples, then you're gold.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think really the format depends either on the market, maybe the demands of the agent, or just like any other job application you do, you want to make sure your application or demo targets who you're applying for. If you're hitting up Shell and you want to do a training video, they're probably not as interested in what you've done in animation or commercial work. They want to see if you've done other industrial, corporate, training, safety, that sort of stuff before, and they want to hear how you sound doing that stuff, not necessarily some big, Memorial Day card lot sale thing.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And that's why we're saying you should have numerous demos probably.
Right.
Now, the other thing is that you're going to want to get a website, okay? And there's all kinds of opportunities to get websites out there. You might even be able to build your own website. The key is it doesn't have to be super fancy or super elaborate or anything like that. They're not going to judge you on how cool your website is. What they want to do and what you want to do is just, hey, this is me. Here's my voice. Here's what I sound like. And are you interested? So, when websites started coming out and people were building them and, everyone wanted to have the latest, greatest, fanciest, coolest website, And I remember one site I was looking at, it took like 3 or 4 clicks just to get to the demo. And I was like, I've lost interest, man. I don't care about the burning wheel of fire.
People aren't there to check out your website by any means. They just want to see the material, the demos, get their information, maybe find your phone number to call you. And if they don't find that, pretty soon they're moving on.
They're
just
moving
like
on to
the
the next
demo.
one.
I mean, so get, really refined with your marketing strategies.
Right.
And whittle it down to the core information.
Exactly. And that segues into this. So you've got your demo, you've got your website up there. Now we have to market. So the first thing you want to do is market to an agent, a talent agent. More than likely, if you're in a town or a city of,
more than 250,000 people.
Yeah, something like that. There's more than likely going to be a talent agency there. So you want to find them, contact them, send them a link to your website and your demo, let them hear it, and hopefully they'll want to interview you to sign you. Then you get representation. You don't have to have representation from a talent agent to succeed in this business, but it is sort of the standard, kind of gives you that air of professionalism, that you're serious about this and you're not just some person that, hey, I'm brand new to voiceover and I'm here to be a voice actor. You don't want to be Johnny Hayseed like that. So,
But also the agent will help get you jobs that you might not be able to find yourself.
Exactly.
Like big Hollywood stuff, that gets sent only to agents, that sort of thing. Right. Other big local casting things like, Walking Dead shoots not too far from here, a couple states over. And
Right.
we've had tons of friends be cast in that, and it's because they have agents that are nearby that are close to that production zone.
Right.
If you had someone that was in Washington with an agent, or even Hawaii, they might not be getting those auditions.
I mean, they might be getting something, but yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Without an agent, they're definitely not getting those.
Right. And the thing about an agent too is that's where traditionally producers, production companies, advertising agencies, the people that are doing the commercials and the spots and the projects, they're going to the agency first because that's where they know the talent pool is. So you want to just make sure you're swimming in that pool because that's where they're going to go. Now, that being said, let's say you've got your demo, you've got your website, you're ready to rock and roll, you've got your agent, all is good. So now we just sit by the phone and wait for it to ring.
No.
You have to remember that your agent represents hundreds, if not more, but hundreds of people. Many of them are probably in your demographic, meaning they're a male or a female, depending on who you are. They're in your age range. They may even sound a little bit like you. So your agent, when they put out an audition, and it may go to 20 people, let's say, your agent really doesn't care, nor should they, about which one of you gets that job. They care that one of you gets that job. So it's really up to you to be more proactive in going after those clients. So what do? Well, here's what you do. You market yourself. You put your name out there. You Google advertising agencies in your town, in your state, in your region, in your area, whatever. And I promise you, you will get hundreds of names to pop up. And the great thing about voiceover is you don't have to just limit yourself to the market you're in.
Right, right. You can work from anywhere since, technology allows us to do that these days. The internet is so empowering and technology is affordable, so you don't have to go out and rent a $250 an hour studio. You can probably work from the comfort of your own home in your PJs.
Yeah.
And maybe Skype the client and, do it all over the phone, sort of, so to speak. And then, you're done. Just email the stuff off.
We have clients from literally all over the world, and they will, more often than not, just send us the script, say record it, and send us back the MP3 or the WAV file or whatever their requirements may be. But it's all done from right here in our little old studio in Houston, Texas. So it can be done. Now, that being said, a little caveat to that. If you want to do animation, video games, anime in particular, those generally have to be done in the city where they're producing it, which would be Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, Vancouver, maybe Toronto. It's very difficult if you want to be specifically, let's say, an anime voice actor, and you live in Duluth, or Poughkeepsie,
or even Santa Fe.
or Santa Fe. Yeah, really cool place to live, but not a whole lot of voiceover.
You have to be in those hot zones pretty much because they're not going to fly you out. There's not enough of an incentive for them to hire you remotely to do that stuff. There's tons of people locally that are willing to do it, and that can be there, pretty much with a phone call, So
again, and that's the supply and the demand.
Right. So you pick your battles on that one because you're better off either moving or finding something else that might be more suited to you, local stuff particularly.
So what you want to do is come up with ways to target these people. Postcards, for instance, sending out a little postcards to direct them to your website, so then they can hear your demo. And again, it's not blasting out 1,000 postcards today. You want to kind of create the machine, kind of create the momentum. So maybe do 10 a day. You're sending out 10 postcards every day, and for the next 6 weeks, you send out 300 postcards. Is that right? 10, 50, 300 postcards. So you send out 300 postcards in 6 weeks. At the end of that 6 weeks, you start a new batch of 300, but then you also include that first 300. So now you're sending out 600 over the next 6 weeks. But about every 6 weeks, somebody is getting your postcard, and hopefully then it's getting a repeat postcard. And again, it's just about being in the right place at the right time. Afshar, you said this earlier, that, somewhere, somebody out there wants your voice, and that's the truth. The key is for you to go out and find that person, because as much as they want you, they're not going to look for you. You need to really look for them.
And that's another case for the agent's point, is they will help draw in some of those bigger jobs. They are not necessarily looking for some of the smaller local jobs too, like some of the training oil and gas videos we've done. I don't know that the agency would have found those right off the bat, but because we know a lot of people that work in that industry, sometimes they contact you directly, or it's easier for you to go find them because, we know a ton of people that are in the oil and gas world in Houston, so it makes it easier for us and less of a effort for the agent because, that takes one thing off their back. So
exactly. And actually, a lot of those relationships have come from networking, from meeting people in classes, at parties, at functions and stuff like that.
Even other local meetups, like local filmmaker meetups. There's tons of stuff like that in Houston these days. 24-hour film fest type things. People bring you on board. If you're a voice actor and want to do that stuff, you can do some narration for their film or whatever. Just kind of rub some elbows, and you might get on board.
It's really kind of getting your foot in the door any way you can.
Yeah.
Legally, of course. But I mean, you want to do anything you can to start your immersion into this world. Another way to perhaps solicit work or to go find work is to join there are various voiceover banks out there. There's Voice Bank, there's Voice 123, I think Procom.org, and probably others that are essentially a service where you would pay to be on their website, and then they will send you auditions as they come in.
It's almost similar to an agency.
Yeah,
just
it
kind
is.
of like an online hub repository for talent, basically.
It is. The difference being is that generally a talent agent, if they have any reputableness at all, will not charge you anything to be part of their list of actors. They only get paid when you get paid. These services, basically you're paying to be on their website. It's a yearly fee, and it probably a couple $100 a year, which is not terrible. It's not going to break the bank or anything. But it's one of those things that's tough because those auditions may come in and they may blast them out to 100 or 200 people. And if you're not ready right there to do your audition and send it in, it's kind of a waste of time, in my opinion, because the person listening to it is not going to listen to 200 auditions to get to the one they want. They're going to probably find what they want in the first 10, maybe. So you want to really, but it's not a bad service. I know people that have done it. I don't do it, but I do know a lot of people that have done it and have had a lot of great success.
Yeah, so you just have to have your finger on the trigger and ready to go, because if you're working a day job and you're sitting at your desk till 6 p.m. waiting to do that audition, it's probably long gone.
Right. So that's kind of voiceover in a nutshell. That's the elevator pitch, assuming we're going to a very high floor, because it took more than 5 minutes, obviously. But that's really kind of the gist of it. Be yourself, be unique, be real, be authentic, get training, and market yourself.
Practice and market.
And practice and market.